Hello guys, Prismatic is here and is absolutely crazy. It's even better than I thought. I've been playing the final shape a lot and I've been testing lots of builds. I'm going to start with the Hunter. Don't forget to subscribe so you see more builds in the future. I see a lot of players using Liar's Handshake with their Prismatic Hunters, and guys, in my opinion, that's not the way to go. This one I'm going to show you is way better and gives you way more options. And Prismatic is all about option. I tested Liar's Handshake here, but honestly, it always felt off. Something was missing. And what was missing was the jolt, the crowd control capabilities. Yes, you will shatter enemies and it does a lot of damage, of course, but it's on the second dodge. I'm impatient. I want to kill everything as fast as I can. So I don't like Liar's Handshake for this. Yes, you're going to do crazy amounts of damage to one enemy, but I want to do crazy amount of damage to all the enemies, not only one. That's why I use this exotic. This exotic is crazy. Warlocks will cry when they see the amount of Treadlings you spawn with this build. It's the Treadling King now. This new exotic balance of power is absolutely crazy. Your Threaded Spectre, your decoy, has increased duration and durability, and damaging it releases additional Treadlings. And while you are near your Threaded Spectre, you do not appear on the radar. So there's a lot of things going on with this exotic. You dodge, you create a decoy. With a decoy on the field, enemies will shoot at your decoy instead of you. So it's kind of the same as being invisible. And for your whole fire team, because enemies will shoot your decoy, they won't shoot at you and your fire team. But because of this exotic, your decoy has two Treadlings around them. So when enemies go closer, decoys will attack them. The Treadlings will attack them. But when the decoy explodes, two more Treadlings will spawn. So it's four Treadlings for only one decoy. But guys, with combination blow and the dodge, you're gonna be doing your dodge every couple of seconds. If you have enemies around, you're going to dodge a lot. So you're going to spawn 5-6 decoys on the field. So it's a Treadling army like I never saw. It's crazy, guys. It's so strong, and this will give you the add clear capabilities that was missing on the Liar's Handshake build. I have friends that only play the Warlock. They're mad at this build because this is the Treadling King now. It's so freaking good. And now I don't miss the Arc one at all because there's a new king in town. It's so strong. I was playing around this and it's crazy good. Honestly, it's so fun. But there's a lot more to this build, guys. So let me show you how I built it with everything I chose. Super wise, I'm using Silence and Squall. This super got a 40% buff against PvE combatants. So now there's a lot of damage and it will give us frost armor. I will talk about that later in the video. Our class ability needs to be Gambler's Dodge. When we dodge near an enemy, we fully recharge our melee ability. And on our melee ability, we're going to pick Combination Blow. When we defeat a target, it increases our melee damage and it stacks 3 times. And it also fully recharges our class ability. So now we have an infinite loop between our class ability and our melee. And grenade wise, I like grapple for movement reasons, so I'm gonna keep grapple on. Aspects, we are going with Threaded Spectre. When we dodge, we spawn a decoy, so enemies will shoot the decoy instead of our allies. This is amazing. This is kind of like invisibility, like what I was saying, you know. If enemies are shooting at a different target, not you, I'm fine with that. But we're going to make this even better. Second aspect is Winter Shroud. When you dodge, you slow targets. When you slow a second time, you freeze them. So now when you kill them, you shatter them and you do a lot of AoE damage because shatter was increased to its double damage. So good. And you have the Treadlings just going further, killing more enemies. Fragments wise, let's start with Facet of Protection. While surrounded, we are more resistant to incoming damage. And while Transcendent, the effect is increased. We're going to be surrounded a lot because it's a melee build, so this helps a lot with our defense. Second is Facet of Ruin. Increases the damage and size of our shatter when we shatter enemies. So the shatter was buffed, and now there's a fragment that increases that shatter damage even more. Awesome. Next one is Facet of Dawn. Power melee hits will make us radiant, and power melee final blows will make us and our allies radiant. So now we're always going to be radiant, and our allies will also be radiant, which is a 25% increase in weapon damage. Facet of Courage is next. Solar, Arc, and Void abilities do more damage to targets inflicted by darkness debuffs. They're always going to be inflicted by darkness debuffs because they are slow from our dodge. So our combination blow, our melee, will do even more damage. This build is crazy. Fifth one is Facet of Sacrifice. While we have an Arc, Solar, or Void debuff, ability Final Blows grants bonus Darkness Transcendence energy. So now we get Transcendent really fast because we're always radiant, so this helps a lot. And last but not least, Facet of Purpose. Picking up an orb will give us a buff based on our equipped super. And because we are using Stasis one, we're going to get Frost Armor. Now Frost Armor is a new addition to Final Shape. It reduces the damage we take from combatants by 4.5% for each stack, and it stacks up to 5. So now we can have a 22.5% damage reduction with Frost Armor. But the beauty of this fragment is if you want to use a different super, it will give you different things. For example, instead of using a Stasis super, and maybe your team needs a tether, you can use Void, and Void will give you Overshield. You want to add Clear with your Strand super, it will give you Woven Mail, also damage resistance. So you see, you can play around with your super with this build. And these three options I gave you, like Stasis super, Void super, and Strand super, would be the ones I would pick for this build. Up to you guys, so options. And that's the thing about Transcendent. You have options. And that's awesome. The build is crazy anyway, so feel free to choose the super you like. On our artifact, I'm going to talk about two. Shield Crush, while you have Woven Mail, Frost Armor, or Void Shield, and they actually fit the three supers I just recommended, our melee recharges faster and deals increased damage, so even more damage now on our melee. And while we are amplified or radiant, our grenade recharges faster and deals increased damage. We're always going to be radiant, so I like grapple, I'm using grapple, but if you want to use a different grenade, an offensive grenade, you can, and it will do more damage and recharge faster. It's crazy. This one is really, really good. Second one I want to talk about is, for this build of course, is Transference. Gain increased grenade and melee damage while Transcendent. Weapon final blows while Transcendent refund light and dark energy after Transcendent ends. So a lot of people, they're not using Transcendent a lot. With this build you can. This build will give you Transcendent so so fast, so you can keep using what you're doing, like dodge, melee, but while transcendent. So you'll have now an offensive grenade instead of your grapple with increased regeneration. Guys, it's so destructive. Mods wise, on our helmet I'm going with Dynamo, so it reduces our super cooldown when we dodge near enemies, which we will a lot. And hands-on, we gain bonus super energy when we kill someone with a melee, which we will do a lot. It's a melee build. On our gloves, I'm using 3 heavy-handed. So now, every single time we kill with a melee, we generate an orb of power, because we have 3. If we only have 1, we have a cooldown of 10 seconds. If we have 2, we have a cooldown of 5 seconds. And if we have 3, the cooldown it's only 1 second, so it's the second it takes to do the dodge and then melee. On our chest, I always use the same: 1 arc, 1 void, and 1 solar damage resistance, so I'm covered damage wise. You can cater this, you can fit this to a specific activity if you need. I'm trying to speak fast because the video is a little bit long. It's a small channel, I know people don't like to watch the full video, so I'm trying to do my best, guys. On our legs and exotic of choice, balance of power, we're going to use 2 recuperations. So now when we get an orb of power, and like you saw, we're going to generate an orb of power every single melee, we're going to replenish our health, because we have 2 almost full health. Combination blow will help a lot, so full health every single melee, and stacks on stacks. So now when we pick an orb of power, we will have 2 armor charges instead of 1. But we don't want the armor charges. What we actually want is the frost armor, because stacks on stacks works with frost armor. So now when we pick an orb of power, we get 2 stacks of frost armor. Second orb will give us 4 stacks, and third one and last one will give us 5 stacks, so the maximum amount at 22.5%. So now we have great survivability with damage resistance. We get a lot of health from our combination blow and our orbs, and we have a crazy amount of destruction with our treadlings. Guys, this build, it's one of my favorites in the game so far. I love it, so good. On our class item, I went with Powerful Attraction. It will help collecting all the orbs because we are dodging all the time, so why not? And I love Proximity Ward. When I do a finisher, I get a crazy powerful overshield. You probably have a space left for a bomber, but it's up to you. If you don't like the overshield one, you can go with the recovery one to help when you're charged with light. But this is the build, guys. This is the all the options I made, and I love it. So strong. Let me know in the comments what you think. I know the video is a little bit long, but with Prismatic, all these new stuff, you know, there's a lot of things to show. I love this build. It's a melee build, so again, melee builds have an Achilles heel, you know, in certain type of scenarios, but for most content, this will rule. For me, right now, this is the best Prismatic build you can have on your hunter. I'll keep testing more exotics. I'll let you know. Next build will probably the Titan or the Warlock, Prismatic as well. There's also other builds from the old classes that are extremely powerful this season. I want to show you all that, so don't forget, subscribe to the channel so you can keep being updated on the latest builds. And that's it. I don't want to waste your time. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Bye.